a podcast that talks about music, movies, sports, and news. To know the people, promoting and sharing with the world a beautiful story. This is Frail Fragments Monster Closet. This is the Monster Closet, episode 154. Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. We be chilling with my main man, second man in charge, Papi Chulo, aka Ace. How are you, brother?
Executive producer, what's up?
Well, you're not the executive producer. I'm the executive producer. I don't know who the fuck made you executive producer. I recently made you a producer. I put you on the last episode. It says producer by your name. So hopefully you can feel some sort of appreciation and feel happy and validated. Oh, you watched that?
The last one with the animations?
No, I don't put producer on the animations. You're Ace on the animations. I already told you that.
Oh yeah, it's my alter ego. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But I couldn't get animations in our last yesterday's podcast for our bumpers because I don't know. Maybe it was because you got disconnected. I don't know what the fuck happened, but yeah, we're sorry. But we're doing the best we can, right? Keep it locked on YouTube. We're at Frail Fragment. We're at Frail Fragment on Instagram and Facebook. I'm a band too.
TikTok
I play music under Frail Fragment. What? TikTok coming soon,
guys.
Ace says he's going to be working on TikTok. I wouldn't hold our fucking breaths, but
better get that executive going.
You know what I mean?
I'm working for that executive.
This is an exclusive beat.
See what happens with him, man. Yeah, do you don't remember what we were talking about? Because we were ranting pretty good like 10, 20 minutes ago.
That was a good combo we had. Yeah. We're talking about natives, how you're 1%. Explain to the people how you came about that.
Well, I mean, I don't know, right?
Me?
When I did ancestry.ca, there was like paperwork from my mom's father's family, and he was here from like 1607 on paper, or even before that, right? Like it was like before Canada was even a country. These guys were fucking around in like Montreal area, Quebec City, and like Toronto, right?
Yeah.
So my grandfather, he came up in Toronto. He grew up as a kid in Toronto, but like I'm talking about like his grandparents. And I was just kind of putting things in perspective with Ace. It's like, you know, these native people, we stole their land. This is their land. Why are we charging them to be on their land, right?
Their land. But they're not building the properties, Len.
Well, I don't know what that means, but...
So I guess we're charging them for lumber.
Charging who, man? The natives? We put them in a reserve somewhere, bro.
Yeah, we let them fuck off. It's fucked up.
That's a shithole over there. Nobody wants to live in the middle of the woods with fucking shitty running. Yeah, it's free, but yeah, the water is like dirty. The electricity is fucking terrible. Most of these people don't have jobs, or they have no access to get fucking proper money and to come up. And they all develop fucking drug and alcohol problems, and there's a lot of fucking problems there. And these people don't deserve that because it's their land. So they were like essentially kicked off. But I mean, the white man, the European man, we came here and, you know, 90 to 95% of the natives died because of like the diseases we brought
the European
to this land. And then the other 5% were raped, killed, people fell in love with, whatever it was. But my DNA, my ancestry said that I'm 99% European and 1% native. So it's like my grandfather, he's been living in Canada his family has been living in Canada, like on one of either his father or his mother's side for like a lineage of like hundreds of years, right? So that's pretty cool. I mean, I believe, yeah, he did. He eventually, they came from Ireland, like fucking way back in the day, right? Like 500 years ago, they came from like Ireland, and they did what they had to do. And that region, like back hundreds and hundreds of years ago, was like a French kind of Irish thing. I don't know what the hell was going on there, because he had the last name as Delcourt, right? Which is a French last name, but I mean, his DNA is primarily Irish, right? It's not French. So that was like a misconception I learned, and why I did it was to find out my mom's mom, my grandmother, like, who had a big part in raising me, who the fuck she was, because she was adopted and her life was crazy, bro. Like, her sister was like, and I dug deep, right? But it was like I hit nerves with my parent, like my mom, and she didn't really want me like digging much, right? Like as much as I was, and I found out what I needed to know, essentially. But like my grandmother, like she had a crazy life, bro. Her sister grew up on Broadway with her mom in the 20s, 30s, and 40s in New York City. And my grandmother was essentially adopted. She grew up on a farm in Buffalo, came to Toronto in high school, grade 9. I met my grandfather like 5 years after that. I think she was 17 or whatever, and he was 19 or whatever it was, or something along that line. And they were together, they eventually got married, and they met at Nathan Phillips Square like fucking 100 years ago, bro. Crazy, right?
That's
like my grandmother saw like Nat King Cole in Toronto and shit like that. And like my grandmother's sister, the one that was famous, her kid, Mike Fay, was like, he was the guy behind like that Pulp Fiction theme song with the crazy guitar. And he has stories of like influencing like Jimi Hendrix and all these people, and he toured in the 60s with like Elvis and like Johnny Cash, and like, but he was more like into Beach Boys kind of music, right? It was more surfing kind of music.
Surfing,
in the 50s and the 60s.
That genre.
And he owns a touring company in Tahiti right now, so I mean he's an older cat. But yeah, like my grandmother, his mom was my grandmother's sister, so my great aunt. And I found pictures of her through digging, like of her on Broadway and her autographed pictures. And I got these pictures during COVID because like I took this on as like, who are my grandmother's parents, right? And it was like, it was tough because my grandmother's mother was a Barnum from like, kind of like it was like folklore, or it was believed that from the Barnum and Bailey family, right? But I haven't proven it on paper that I can join that and prove that. And her husband was a Johnson, and he was a trapeze artist for the Ringley brothers. And that was like my grandmother's father, so my great grandfather. And her mom was like this manager of my grandmother's sister on Broadway, right? And she adopted my grandmother because my grandmother couldn't sing or dance. And it was like a kind of a sad story for my grandmother now that like I see the full picture. Like, you know, that's trauma for a kid. Like, you know, why did you leave me for this, right? Like, where are you? And she grew up with foster parents that she grew to love, and she grew up on a farm for a few years, and she has lots of crazy stories. And like, to be young then, man, it was like so much simpler and so much different. And like I got a small window into that when I was growing up living with my grandmother, and that was the best time of my childhood, right? It was just like I had friends like all around me, and like my schools were all around me, and like street hockey, and it was a different ideal.
Everything
Playing sports, you go play baseball, you play street hockey, you play Burby, you fucking ride bikes, you go to the Danforth, you do tennis, you play fugitive, or you try to fucking catch some guy in the woods or something. I mean, we were like Danforth guys, right? But I mean, those times were fucking really sick fucking memories for me. And then like shortly after that, I got into music, and like once we moved out of my grandmother's house, it like all became really dark and really kind of scary and just sad. And it was like this energy enveloped my family, and it was really bad energy, right? It's like a lot of crazy shit happened to my family when we moved. So yeah, it really enabled me to connect to my my dark side and my fear that, and all this stuff, right? And like, it jaded me a lot in many ways too, with relationships and stuff like that. And just because a lot of traumatic shit happened in my life in my teenage years, right? Like, I thought I was gonna get married to the girl I was with and didn't work out, and dealing with that as like a growing teenager, dealing with that, going through all these hormonal changes. Like, I just had like, my highs were high and my lows were really low, and I was really low. And just like the band didn't work out at the same point in time, and my mom was having a breakdown, and she was pregnant with my brother, and just all kinds of shit. My sister was going off, she was doing her thing, and she was out of fucking control, and like all this. The house was supposedly haunted, and then I had fucking experiences, and we'll get into that. Yeah, we'll get into that. Have you had a haunting experience?
No, but when our grandfather died, he flickered the lights to notify us that he's okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, well, that house was just a fucking... I mean, it was really nice. It was a beautiful house, but it was just bad luck for us. And it was just like...
Well,
yeah,
I got murdered in that bit?
Probably, man. It had like... Ended up having mice. And my dad like took his time fucking getting an exterminator because he's tried to fucking do it himself, and it was just like, that's never happened to us before, and that kind of backfired because a mouse would die and we couldn't find it, and the house would smell, and this guy was just a moron, right?
And in the walls, right? Fuck.
It's just a cheap way to do things, but it's made me enlightened to the fact that you have to call an exterminator when shit like that happens, because a mouse could fit into a dime crack, and you learn all this stuff when that shit happens to you, and it's just like you hear cabinets fucking smashing because like you hear a mouse or something, it's just like a fucked up thing, and you're living in this beautiful house and this shit's happening, and then like my sister's going off about, I know, that's what we should have did, right? My sister's going off about her room being haunted, and then like I had to spend like maybe a week or less in her room, and she was gone somewhere, and we're painting my room, and it was just like, yeah, like every hour that went past was a literal, like when I would check the clock, it was like a minute. So it's like I felt like I was sleeping. I felt like I was sleeping for like so long, and and then I couldn't, to the point where it was driving me crazy, where I couldn't sleep because like time was going so fucking slow. So, and then the third day it happened, bro, it was happening, I started falling asleep. And this is like, and I found this out after, because my wife and my brother-in-law, Ian, the bass player for Fragment, he's had similar experiences. But like, I felt that as I was about to fall asleep and I was in that state of being awake and like relaxed and about to sleep, I felt like a weight get on the bed and like wrap its arms around me and try to take my life. And then it was trying to take my life, or my body, or
your
whatever.
Soul, man.
But I was like conscious of it, and then I woke up and like it was happening, and I was just like, go away. And then it just like the weight would lift off my chest, and then it like came back, and it was just like, and I couldn't scream or anything, right? Like you couldn't talk or anything, but like in my consciousness, I was telling it to go away, and I lifted off, right? So like shit like that, bro, and just crazy shit that I can't explain, man. Like, you have a night, dude, you're a pothead, so you know the deal. You have a night, I was like 18, bro. And I was smoking with, Greg Thompson. Yeah, I was smoking
he's a
with...
Monster Closet alumni.
I was smoking with Greg Thompson's brother, like, all night, whatever. I mean, just like the normal, right? And he lived at, like, Greenwood and Danforth, and I lived at Coxwell and Salmon. So it's a little walk, right? Whatever. So I put on the headphones, and I put on 89.5, and they're playing fucking the best drum and bass ever. And I'm all stoned, and I'm loving the music for the 7-block walk. I'm walking back home. Open my doors, and this is the same house with the fucking rats and the sleep paralysis and all this shit. I open the door, and like I hear something. So it's like a 2-door open door, and I have like a hallway, and like upstairs are the bedrooms, and then to the right is the kitchen, and to the left is like a dining area, right? So to the left, the lights are on in the kitchen. This is like 2 a.m. now, right? like 1:30 in the morning, let's say. 2, the lights are on, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, whatever. Like, someone's in the kitchen. It could be my sister, could be, you know, my mom, my dad. And, you know, I'm just like kind of playing it off. I'm taking off my shoes, and like I hear like the chair pulling out, and then like the fridge opening, and I'm like, hello, like, yo, like, and like they're not, the person's not responding, right? So it's like I go to the left into my dining room, and I go around my dining room because I'm like scared at this point. Who the fuck's in my kitchen? And I'm like, and there's another like vantage point on the other side of my dining room that directly looks into my kitchen, right? So I get there and I look, and my refrigerator's open, and there's like a fucking person without hair, like a bald person, like the Predator. You know, like how the Predator looked in part 1?
Oh yeah.
Like how you can't
like
see him. Like you can't see him. He's like invisible, but you can see him.
He's like
almost like a shadow.
Man.
Almost like a shadow, right? So I just fucking tripped out, right? And I turned the corner to my left, and I went up the stairs, and I went into my room or the washroom. I can't remember anything at that point. And the fucked up thing about that was I went to fucking sleep after that, and I woke up like nothing happened, bro. What the fuck?
Everything's normal.
How crazy am I?
There, eh?
I don't know what the he was. It sounded like he was pouring some. It sounded like he was pouring some cereal, bro. But like it's not the. And people that are like logical and, oh, it was the weed he was smoking, or it was whatever. Okay, fine. But that was what happened, bro. Like, from my memory, my recollection, like it was really weird, right? That's one ghost story I have.
You know what the fuck happened.
That's one ghost story I have. I'm gonna share some. Nope.
Someone closed the fridge.
I left. I fucking boogied out of there. I boogied out of there up the stairs. Gone. I didn't even think to come back to check what was going on. I don't remember any of that. All I remember is that's what happened, and I woke up the next day and I pretended like nothing happened. Bro, a lot of crazy shit happened.
It's the first time you're saying it on the monster.
I think I said it in season 1, like via radio or whatever it was, right? Bro, I'm telling you guys.
The audio only.
I'm telling you guys, please revisit the audio only season 1. I'm telling you, there is so much gold there. I mean,
the gems in there.
The volumes are gonna be off, and you can play around with it, and it does get better. The audio does get better and better. But what I'm saying is, man, there's some cool fucking killer stories, and there's some really cool moments in season 1. I mean, obviously, great moments in season 2. We've come up, our quality has improved, right? But I mean, so I'm just keeping it locked, keeping it real. Yeah, man. Always getting better. I just wanted to share that little story with you. I don't want to take up too much of your time. It's Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. This is the Monster Closet, episode 154. And yeah, we're gonna do one tomorrow. We're gonna do our best to do one tomorrow still.
That's it.
We'll keep it locked.
We'll see you.
FrailFragment.com, @FrailFragment. Again, this is the Monster Closet, episode 154. Ace, Poppy, thank you. We out of this bitch. Peace.